Hey, everybody, it's Deanna Durrell, your intuitive relationship coach and spiritual mentor. And we are back with the Sparkle Seat series. And I've just had so much fun doing these and so grateful to you, to our community, for just really helping me get the idea and running with it. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. And you want to subscribe so you never miss any videos on how to trust and love yourself. So I've been interviewing 6 women, amazing women from all different walks of life, all different parts of the US and the world. And each of them is, has been just guided to do these conversations really and see different parts of their lives. So you may see some conversations about love and relationships, others about career, still others about their spiritual development. And it's my intent and hope that as you listen and watch these, that maybe you share it with a friend or a family member who resonates with the message, and that we all help each other out, because that's really what being a goddess is. You are never alone, no matter what has happened to you in the past. And without further ado, I would love to welcome today's guest, which is Nichole, who I met in Arizona. I'm just going to unmute her. Nichole, can you hear me okay? Okay. I think you might have to unmute yourself. Let's see. There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yay!
Yay!
We called in Archangel Michael just now to oversee all the technical stuff.
We're going to need it.
So, I have known you for a while now, and I remember the first time that we met, and you just have such a big, beautiful heart and energy. And, Nichole's the type of person, everybody, that people are just kind of magnetized to, and they don't even necessarily know why, right? Like they just want to share their story with you, and you're like Earth Mama. But rarely as women, I feel like, do we give each other safe containers to just let our hair down, be real, and receive support for ourselves. And just, I want to acknowledge you for, filling out the application, coming on here and being brave and just kind of staying open to the experience.
Thank you so much. I'm excited.
Yeah. So, on your form, you said that you're kind of at a career crossroads and looking for some direction with career. And I'm totally open if we want to stay with that, or if something has shifted since you filled that application out. What would you like to look at today?
So I'm currently in a career already.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an accountant right now. I oversee projects for a construction company, and I'm really, really great at it. Mm-hmm. And I'm in limbo here. Do I go and want to reach for a higher role in that same accounting atmosphere and kind of push my way to the top, which I've done basically at this place? It's been 11 years this June. Wow. But I feel kind of not fully fulfilled in that position. I don't feel like I'm fully speaking my truth. Like, I don't know how I'm able to help people. I think it's the same people at work, that like you say, like they just share their stories or they ask for advice. And I just feel like maybe that's a role that I should try and move into.
Yeah. And so let me ask you this. If you could really stop doing any part of what you're doing right now, like you could, your boss is like cool with you cutting out certain aspects of your current role. Mm-hmm. Like, what would you cut out? What would you stop doing?
Gosh. I think I have a tendency to take on more work than I should. Mm-hmm. I tend to overcompensate for people that are lagging in their position, and I just need to get my job done. So I overcompensate. So I think I would maybe push back on people a little bit more. Okay. I don't know that I necessarily feel like a pushover. I just know that my position has to be done no matter what. And so I know the expectation from my boss, but as far as kind of just being who I am, he's good with it. I can come and go. And that's what's so hard to leave, is like the people that I connect with, you know, and I don't know. I don't really, you know, I don't feel like my job's too hard. I think I would just maybe stop overcompensating, which basically coincides with taking on too much work, you know, not setting the boundary and saying, well, hey, listen, that's really your job and you should really try and do that. You know, this is where I pick up from that. Instead of me just saying, yeah, just give it to me. You know, I need to get it done. Yeah, just give it to me. I'll enter those invoices or I'll just do that. You know, I guess maybe not be a people pleaser so much, because I think that's kind of, I've danced with that a lot of my life, just wanting to give the results people want. But I feel like I want to do that for me and my path, because I feel greater than the position I'm in.
Okay. So that's interesting.
That's a lot.
No, but I love you have so much clarity, right? So it's
right.
The opportunity, it feels like, is like letting go of taking responsibility for things that are actually not your responsibility. Right. So, and then being okay with the discomfort that can accompany that boundary setting. So if people are used to you just taking it off their plate, oh, Nicole's got it, she can handle it, then the second that changes, you've changed the dynamic, you've changed the game, and there may be pushback, right? Like either through some like passive aggressiveness or like shoddy work or delays. And so what does, I don't know why Spirit is asking me to ask you this, but I trust. When you think about the people that you've overcompensated with at work, who do they remind you of?
You know, to be fair, it's typically the saddest ones, the ones that have the most trauma. I feel them, and I feel like you say, a motherly energy to people. And I'm like, let me just take this and help you. But it's not helping them, because it's not making them be fully present in their position, you know, and they need to take pride in their work. And I think that's where mine comes from, is I am prideful about the work that I put out. And I don't want to say reputation, but if you were to talk to the majority of my general contractors, because I work for a sub, so I work for a company that does one specialty. So a general will go out and hire all these people, and I'm one specialty, so I'm considered a project accountant. The majority of people are like, yo, you just do your job, you know what it's expected, you just do it, and this and that. And it's like, I don't know why it's so hard for other people to not do the same. Like, we all have expectations of what we're supposed to do. And then I do find myself overcompensating. But when I think about the people and who they are, I feel very like they seem to be like they need help.
Yeah.
But I don't know that they need help in their work. It's probably other areas.
Right.
And I don't know.
So, but like, if you just close your eyes for a second and let's just play. I don't know where we're going to go with this, but we're just going to play.
I'm good with that.
Okay. So the first person that comes to mind when you think about like overcompensating at work, just, you don't have to tell me anything about them, but do you have them in your mind?
Yes.
Okay. Who do they remind you of from your past or from your present? Like that dynamic?
To be honest, they remind me of myself.
Okay. Tell me more.
We have, like similar things that have happened. And I don't want to share too much. Just if this person ever sees this, I don't want them to ever feel
that's fine.
way. But I think similar experiences, we had a similar loss within a certain time. And I think ever since the loss, I've really tried to overcompensate. I've tried to back up because I've recognized it. But I also feel like this person really doesn't thrive in this position. And he probably could be amazing at it if it was fully his interest. But I don't think that it is. So it's just so much. It's just so much. Like, I would say they probably remind me of myself. But maybe like my dad too, because I have some of the similar relatable things from my father, and some of those like coping mechanisms. I'm obviously way more extrovert than this person, but I just feel them. I think I'm such an empath too. So sometimes I don't understand why I'm helping. I think sometimes I just almost absorb it and just kind of do the motions. You know what I mean? So I'm also working on trying to do the boundary on that too, because it's over stimulating at times. But yeah, I would say a lot of myself, really, like, but I feel like this person's been there a long time, but they just always seem like they just started. Scrambling.
Something you said was really, really powerful, that like they didn't necessarily, you don't feel like they're fully being themselves, or like they're
yeah,
right. You said something to that effect. I can't remember exact words, but like they're not thriving in the position because it's not necessarily their zone of genius or even like desire.
100%.
So,
and I feel like I've plateaued. Like, I feel like I don't even care about being the best anymore. Like, I have this, I want to be the best project account. I want to be the best. I want everybody to be like, yo, that girl's on her shit. She knows her knowledge. She's on it. She's powerful. She's this and that. And it's like, now I'm like, I don't even care. Like, I do, because it's my livelihood. I have respect for my boss and lots of love. I mean, after 11 years, he's been wonderful to me. He's taken care of me, taken me under his wing, allowed me to learn. I just feel like I'm kind of at the point where I need to make a move. And do I push somebody out of their role and say, this is what I want, because I know he's going to be receptive to that? Or do I slowly build what I feel is my truth until I'm fully able to move into that? And that's kind of where I'm leaning.
Yeah. So, I mean, it feels like it's both, right? So there's so many layers to what you're saying. And the first one that I hear is like, okay, well, if I stopped, right, overcompensating, that's an area of growth right there.
Yeah.
Then what would I do with, like, what would you want to do with all that energy that you're using right now, right? To just kind of like micro manage, not even other people, but just like what you're doing.
Right.
And then the second layer is like, okay, can I honor that big empathetic heart that I have without necessarily needing to step in? Like, what if there's nothing that you have to do except just honor, right? Honor the feelings that are coming up. And that's enough, because Nichole, your presence is healing for people. You don't have to say a damn thing. You don't have to do a damn thing except be yourself in the center of a room, in the corner of a room, and you can change the energy around you. So, and it may have come from what you saw growing up, or even like what you didn't receive growing up, this like hyper need, right, to kind of parent people that maybe you're seeing their inner child and their inner child wounds, and you're like, oh my God, I recognize that. And I didn't have somebody supporting me, but I can support you.
Yes. And I still, even being here is so huge for me, because
I know
I don't accept support, and I don't know how, because it's like, I'm always in the driver's seat, and then it's like, now I'm stuck. I'm not stuck. I'm allowing things, I'm moving through them. I feel so close to it. I feel so close to like answers and just the flow of it all. But it's just like, I need a push. And so I saw your class, online. And obviously I've done classes with you for years, the Goddess Circle. That's basically the only thing. But, so Sarah obviously has, used your leadership for her benefit and, really just tried to connect and put herself out there. And then when I saw this class and I didn't sign up for it, I went back into my shell, like, no, don't. And then when I saw you and I just felt like I knew spirit was like, ask her about the class. And then you were like, you're the one that's supposed to be in that spot, And I'm like, okay. Don't psych yourself out. Then I go and sign up for the class. The only one time is the next day.
You're like, shit, man, I don't even have a chance to like,
you know prepare. What? I move so fast. You know what I mean? My vibration and the way that I work on things. And that's probably what's been so tough, is having to slow down and actually process and say, what do I really want? Because I can continue just fine in the role that I'm at. Mm-hmm. I can be good. I'm good, but like, there's a purpose for me. And this is a stepping stone. So I'm just trying to navigate and figure it out.
So how would it feel to just let go of trying to figure it out?
I know, just stop swimming up the river. And just,
or even stop swimming, full stop. Like, just let yourself be held by the water.
Be held, yes.
So I don't know, what I'm feeling for you is it's a combination. You don't have to necessarily change jobs in order to change how you're showing up in the world, right? So more than the job description, more than the job title even, or your job duties, it's like you can choose right now in this moment to change your energy, right? And so just an invitation for you is like, maybe even for the next 2 weeks, is pick a day where you try on the energy of somebody that no longer, needs to parent anybody at work. And it may feel really weird. You may feel like a bad person or what, like it just may feel so foreign. But if you just play with that, right? And like, okay, if I was in the energy of nobody here needs a parent, all I have to do is parent my own children and maybe my inner child.
Yes.
And the dogs. Sure. but here in this contained space, I'm going to choose to believe that that lovely gentleman has his own spirit guides, has his own path, and wherever he's choosing to be right now is serving his growth in some way that I may not be able to see. And see how that informs like your actions, how you're managing your time at work, because I don't know, my prediction, and I could be wrong, is that you're going to have way more pockets in your day where there's seemingly nothing happening, that you are going to get creative downloads for the next step and for like when it's time to transition. You may even use those pockets of time to write down your thoughts, to do voice memos of the feelings that are coming up. Like, it's here, right? Your purpose is to be yourself. Mm-hmm. If it's not this grand, like, billboard, this is Nichole's purpose, it takes the pressure off, right? And you're just like, okay, I just have to be the woman, right? That knows my purpose. And if all I have to be is myself, maybe your most empowered self, you know, trust that people can figure their shit out.
I do need to trust that, because I recognize that it's also a trauma response for me too. So I do recognize that. And I have really been putting a lot of things back in other people's courts in more ways than one, in my home life, in my job, within friendships. I do feel more empowered when I'm able to separate, because I do take on so much, and it's really just ridiculous at this point.
Well, and it's just a learned behavior, but that can be unlearned, right? It's like, okay. It's, I liken it to like being ambidextrous, right? Like we have two hands.
Yep.
There's one that we feel real comfortable writing with, and the other one we feel like we're in kindergarten, but you still have two hands.
Yes.
So if you broke this hand, you would be forced to write with this hand.
Yes.
And eventually, you know, it would feel like second nature. So then if there's nothing to fix, if there's nothing that needs to be fixed in you, there's nothing even that needs to be healed, right? The healing kind of happens on its own. Then it's choice. What are you going to choose? What are you going to decide is true from this moment moving forward in your life? And maybe it's what's going to be true for me today. Today, I'm going to play with being the woman that does the job to the best of her ability and then shuts it off. Right?
Yes,
and then totally shuts it off. And like, I don't know. I just feel like you giving that space for yourself is going to create space for those other people to kind of figure out their shit.
Yes.
And you might get opportunities coming to you without you even kind of thinking about them so much. And some aha moments, because I feel like you're here to be a creative alchemist in some way to the world, and you're already doing it. So does that make sense?
Yes, it does. So and I feel like I get caught up in it not being my career. Why do I get caught up in it just not being my career? It's like, am I even going to be that happy if I fully move into that role? Like, I think I just have that constant backpedal talk on myself. Like, but you're good here. This is what you wanted. You started this company 11 years ago. You've been working as an office receptionist, and you worked your way all the way up to a senior project accountant. The only way to go is a controller, like, or a CFO, you know? I mean, but then it's like, okay, well, I did that. What now I want, and now it's like, maybe it's, somebody said something to me one time at one of your circles when we were doing a pair group. And they said, the job hasn't changed, you have. And I was like,
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, your energy.
Oh my gosh, I'm complaining about all of these things that I literally sought out, and I just evolved as a person. I started seeking myself, you know, and it was filling myself up in other ways, and I became unfulfilled. I felt not seen. I felt, you know, all these things, and it's like, well, they don't need to see me, man. Like, you don't have to have everybody see you. Like, calm down. But I get so deep on shit, you know. I'm just like, I'm so connected. I want in return what I give. And I mean, realistically, that's never 100%, you know? And you just got to kind of keep it moving at some point. You know, I work in construction. It's a total dude's world. It's very like, if it's not swinging between the legs, no offense, that's kind of the dynamic of it. And so, you know, by my aunt, who is kind of like a mentor to me in the accounting world, been my boss several times at different companies, you know, she's like, put on your face. This is a man's world, and this is just where we're at, and just know your place. But I don't like that. No, I'm not going to fit into your little world. I'm going to love everybody up, and like, I just can't help but love everybody.
And I mean, it sounds like it served you well just to be yourself.
It has. And I don't know. I don't know. This is why I'm here, girl. Because I'm not really sure, you know? And
you're not really sure about what?
I'm not really sure if I should stay the course where I'm at and work hard in being in that role and finish what I started in that way, or did I already wrap that up? And that's why I feel so, it's like, I guess I just need somebody to say, yeah, that's what you need to do. When I've already literally told myself that. It's like, why do we care so much about other people's opinions of us?
So let me ask you this. Who would you be, close your eyes, who would you be disappointing if you left? If you resigned?
I mean, I feel like maybe I'm not disappointing anybody. Maybe I'm disappointed. Maybe I just feel like it's a dependency for me in some way, because it's been such a longevity of being there. I think a lot of it is me, you know, like I've built this, and this is my baby, and I've connected with these people and built relationships, and it's me. It's me. I don't think anybody would be upset that I left and followed my truth. I think they'd be like, girlfriend, you are freaking awesome. And I totally see you doing that, you know? But it's like, it's me because I feel loyal to them. I feel like, you know, they took care of me and I want to take care of them. And it's just like the mutual relationship of it. But it's like, I don't know. I just feel like my boss took a leap on me, a leap of faith on this young girl. You know, I didn't know everything. And, you know, he would even say, you know, oh, well, hey, do you know how to do this? And I'm like, no, but I'll figure it out. And so he would tell, I love that. I love that you don't know, but you'll figure it out. You know, the only dumb question is the one you don't ask. And that's what I've learned so much in this role. I just feel like I don't know. I feel like I want to, like, you know, you work for, so like an owner of a company has employees, and that's their dream. That's their vision that they created, but they have to have people that want to work for that vision and help bring it to fruition and keep it. I just am done working for somebody else's vision. I want to work for my vision and what I feel purposeful in.
Mic drop. I'm writing that one down, by the way. Hang on a second. You get a gotta spell moment. I reserve these for special moments, and that was one of them. I want to work for my vision.
Yes, I do. You heard.
So I don't think you're confused at all. I think you know, and it's just bringing up some shit.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So stop saying you don't know.
It's like, how do I get through the shit faster than I am moving through it? And that's probably what it is. I'm in the future a little bit.
So what, you know, there's multiple truths that can exist here.
Okay.
It's true that you want to build your own vision.
Mm-hmm.
It's true that you are a loyal person and you have a certain loyalty to your boss.
Mm-hmm.
It's true that you recognize that you've been overcompensating for other people. And it's also true that there may not be a whole lot of clarity around what's next.
Yes.
Okay. So like all of those truths exist at the same time. So often what we try to do is put it into like little boxes. It's like, I should quit, but there's no real reason to quit. So I'm not going to do it yet.
Right. Right.
It's like kind of like with the relationships, like you just wish like the guy would cheat on you. So then you would have a valid reason for wanting to break up with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like you almost wish it's like you want something to happen so you don't have to be the one to kind of put the, you know, the pressure on, or just be like, hey, listen.
You don't want to be the one giving the "it's not you, it's me" speech.
I know.
Especially when you're just like, no, it's really, really me.
It's really just me. It really has absolutely nothing to do with anybody but me. And
well, again, you just said a whole nother one.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with anyone except me. And how many times in your life have you allowed it to just be about you?
Never.
Yeah, that's why.
That's what's so hard about it, is because it's like, I would really be doing something for myself. Oh my gosh, what does that feel like? You know, like,
yeah, that's what it is.
And don't get me wrong, I do things for myself. I see how I manifested my job, and how, you know, I see now in the grand scheme, the bigger picture, I see how all of those things I wanted played out. And I know whatever I'm gonna move over, what I know, whatever I focus on, this is gonna come into fruition. And maybe it scares me a little bit that it might happen too fast, and I'm not ready to let this part go. I don't know. You know, I kind of waver between the two, you know, like, is it like, am I ready to leave? But because I know once I do this, it's going to move really fast, because that's how my mind works. That's how my energy works and how I focus. I'm like, you know, I've done so much research. All I got to do is pull the trigger.
Yeah. And so there's the knowing, and then there's the timing, right? So
yes,
there are certain personalities in this world, and you may be one of them, where you have to act as soon as you get the impulse, or you're just not going to do it. And then you kind of figure it out along the way. Or, right, you have the knowing, you have the clarity, but it's a gradual timeline. So you're like, okay, I know, right, the game plan is in 6 to 8 months. I'm going to be exiting out of this. And I'm going to start building my foundation for the other thing now. So that can be kind of a graceful, a slow fade, rather than the like, I'm done. Right.
And, you know, I have,
and you know, neither in certain situations, bad.
I have been able to say I'm done, you know, and be done. But on other things, I don't know, you know, I just keep going back to the codependency of it, being a people pleaser, you know, not wanting them to be in a position to have to find 2 people to do one job. Is that a reason? It's one of bothers them. You? Okay. Yeah. You know, little things like that, because I think I just overanalyze everything. And then it's just like, you know, I know that it's going to be really hard to replace me. I hate to sound like that, but I work really hard, you know, and I'm good at what I do. And I just have gotten to that point where it just flows. And that's scary, leaving that too, because then I'm leaving the expectation of this for an expectation I have no knowledge about. I have no clue what to expect over there. Yeah. So then, and you don't have to make this decision right now. No. Like, but ask yourself, right? Like in those quiet moments, okay, if I just gave myself, right, a timeline, nobody else needs to know what it is, but you do. There's something around setting a date that it's like time speeds up in your energy, and you'll start to get clues of what's next. And if you start exactly where you are. So, you know, step 1 for you, I would say, is play with being the woman that stops overcompensating. Like, just be her, even for a day. Let the emotions and the tension or whatever shit come up, but just let it be okay that you don't have to overcompensate, and just see what comes up for you there. That's step 1. And then step 2 is give yourself a deadline, and you can always change it, but like, make it real. Maybe it's 90 days. Maybe it's 6 months. I wouldn't go past 6 months, just energetically tuning into you. Because it's a long time, right, to hold that knowing that you're going to leave.
And
right. The guilt.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So maybe, and this is just like me
I
playing
will say
again.
I already kind of have that presence.
Good. Okay.
Kind of around the guilt kind of a little bit.
Oh.
No, not, yeah, no. I have a little bit of guilt. Again, it's just detaching from the codependency of wanting to please them. And I am feeling better every day about knowing that I won't be there forever.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want anybody to feel blindsided. Is also
well, that's where it was kind of headed.
Sorry,
is like,
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. So like, let's just imagine that you decide December 1st. I'm making this up. So maybe, I don't know, November 1st is your internal deadline to disclose that you're going to be leaving. Maybe it's even sooner if you feel really, really good to, and just tell them like, hey, this is coming. It's not an easy decision, but I want to give you guys ample time to fill the position. And I'm happy to like, train whoever up until whatever, December 1st, if you find somebody, and really set those parameters and come from your heart. Like if you, what would be the most peaceful exit strategy? What would help you feel at peace in your heart? And just write all of it down. And maybe you use 3 of the things that you write down. But in a perfect world, how would you exit in a way that brings you peace? Okay. And then the other thing I'm going to say, and this is for all you empaths watching, let go of the idea that when you make the right decision, that it's always going to feel good.
Right.
Because the truth doesn't always feel good. Mm-mm. So go for what feels right versus what feels good. And then you'll feel good, right? Afterwards.
Well, that's great advice. It really is. And it is very truthful, because it doesn't always feel good. The truth definitely does not always feel good. And, I think it's just uncovering a little bit more of my truth, that just kind of is like, wow, mm-hmm. I love these people and their vision is amazing. And it's allowed me to move into, it's taught me so many things about myself. But it's like, it's time for me to help others maybe flourish in positions like that.
Yeah. And who's to say, you may have outgrown this, mm-hmm. but who's to say that they wouldn't hire you as a consultant in a different way?
Right.
I don't know.
I've thought about that. I've thought about that because, I really feel huge about being in work environments. And, I just don't think people have the capacity to understand how much pain some of their employees are in. I don't think that sometimes they even register like, wow, that person's really going through it, because they just come in and do their work and go home. Like there's a reason why that guy is a mean guy. There's a reason why that lady is, acting in defensive ways, or projecting on people. And I just think they think, oh, she's just whatever. And it's like, wow, man, she just probably needs a little bit of some self-esteem, or maybe this is her safe place. I know for me, having children, going into the office is huge for me, especially during summer or, during COVID, when all of that was going on and I was forced to work from home and the kids had school online. It was overstimulating, just like almost makes you just want to jump out of your skin, mm-hmm. because it's just, there's so much going on. And it's like, I didn't get that just all adult stimulation where everybody just kind of does their own thing. My kids, it was a constant, I definitely learned from it, but work is a place for me to identify as myself. where at home I identify as a wife, a mother,
Mm-hmm.
and friend and sister and all of these things. But at work, I get to just identify as an employee and maybe a friend, you know, it gives me something. So when I see somebody that's sad, it's like there's something going on.
Yeah. Well, and that's also a clue into your gifts. It's like,
I know.
okay, well, maybe, you know, you're picking up on what your true yearning is, which is to hold space for people and get paid for it. You know, it's like you could do what I'm doing if you wanted to, right? It's like, and just to share like a very quick story, and I wasn't planning on doing this, but I feel like it would serve you and everybody, is I remember the day that I gave notice at my job, and I was working as a teaching artist in the Bay Area, and I had just signed a lease on my very first apartment where I was going to live by myself, and it was more than I'd ever paid in my life. And I walk in and I'm quitting my job. Like, talk about weird timing.
Right.
And I started my intuitive business, like pulling angel cards, like on the sidewalk of San Francisco. Like I was in grassroots stage. And I just blurted it out. And I said, I can't do this anymore. I'm done. This is my 2 weeks. And I was just going in for like a review. And there was silence from my supervisor. And I'm like, oh shit, I've gone and done it. And she just started laughing. And she said, okay, I knew this was coming. And I'm really happy for you because now I can hire you as an intuitive consultant to do all the trainings for all the new teaching artists. How much do you charge? And like 2 weeks later, she cut me my very first check. And I walked back into that same office and I started training everybody, but it was like on how to like tell better stories.
Mm-hmm.
And so I say that because like, I knew I was transitioning and I was expanding, right? I was living on my own. I needed to make more money, but like, why would I quit my job when I needed to make more money? But from the moment I decided, the business started picking up and the universe started supporting me in ways I could never have seen. So taking the leap is scary. Making the decision 1000%, once you make it within your heart, there are doors that you cannot see, that you're not supposed to see, because if you saw them, they might terrify you.
Right. Yeah.
You know, sometimes I think we're more afraid of succeeding than we are of failing.
Yeah. Failure is super easy.
Yeah. It's like, oh,
I know that like the back of my hand.
Right. But like, what if you do this thing and it actually works out and you just don't look back?
And then it's like, what if? Like, it's exciting, but it's like, just, like.
And all I had to do was just decide. So you have that power, my dear. And whatever timeline you decide, in whatever way you decide to do it, stop saying you don't know, because you do know.
I do know.
And you know that whatever whatever is coming has something to do with people. It has something to do with holding space for people. And perhaps, using your expertise in accounting, and again, in a way that you can't see. You might even be a consultant for accountants to help them with work-life balance. Like, who knows?
Yeah.
But stop saying you don't know.
I know words are so powerful. And I feel like sometimes I just put myself in it, like just unintentionally, like, girl, you're just kind of just putting yourself there. And the I don't knows when you do know.
Well, because it's helpful, right? It's when we all do it.
Yeah.
It's a way to kind of delay the inevitable.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to delay it anymore. I think I need to start utilizing my time better in my evenings. I need to be utilizing my time better in the mornings, because there are things that I could be doing before and after.
So that's your homework, is to make a list of at least 1 to 3 things that you're going to commit to doing in the morning and in the evening that would move the needle, right? If you were already on the other side of the transition, how would that woman start her day and how would she close her day? And then the other one that we talked about was be the woman who stops overcompensating. And just to give you one tip, and this is for everybody that tends to be kind of the overgiver people pleaser, patterns tend to shift faster when we activate it in the physical body. So if you take your hands, and it may feel weird, like literally sit on your hands. Okay. And then so then just pretend I'm an employee and I'm like one of your people that's just like not doing their work. Okay. And I'm just going to come to you. Hey, Nichole, I know you needed that thing by 4 p.m. I'm just not going to get to it today. I'm just like super, super swamped. And you're just going to say, I hear you. And in order to move this project forward, I need this no later than 5.
Say it right now.
Yeah.
I hear you, but I need this no later than 5 to get this moving on the project.
Today.
4:30.
Okay. All right. I'll figure it out.
Ah! You know what I'd say normally?
What
I would used to say is, okay, well, tomorrow works. I think too, you really do set the boundary on how people approach you and treat you and work with you. And I'm a very easygoing, happy-go-lucky, whatever. There are times when I have been out of balance and I've lost it. And I've been working on again, with the empathy, I'm overly emotional sometimes. And I think that's why I kind of don't push back, is because I'm like, I feel like sometimes I might cry or get upset because it's kind of something that I don't know. I don't know why I cry when I get upset, but I do.
Okay.
It just feels like it comes out. But no, I'm excited to start pushing things back in other people's court, because I do need to free up my time.
Yeah. And I mean, just like what we did there was such a small snippet, but like it's empathizing, right? So always starting with, I hear you, I understand that, even repeating somebody's words back, right? So I understand that you are having trouble meeting the 4 o'clock deadline. And so you don't want to say like, however, because then you just negate everything you just said before.
Right. It's kind of
what? And I'm going to need that by no later than 4:30 or 5. Can we make that happen? Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Happen.
And so instead of I'm pushing back, consider saying in your mind when you're doing it, like, I'm not pushing back. I'm actually empowering them. I'm empowering them to figure out, because I trust that they're going to figure out a way.
Yes.
To get it done. And at the same time, I'm empathizing with how they're feeling, but that doesn't change, right? What needs to happen. So yeah, I can work with them, maybe 5 p.m. But the next day, sometimes it might be okay, but most of the time, no. But anyhow, so you've got your action steps, and in summary, this really is just like to give people some highlights that they can grab onto, is focus on what you do know. Stop saying you don't know, because we know way more than we give ourselves credit for. And like, decide. Once you decide, then the wheels in motion will follow you. Okay. And then the last one is, our only purpose is to be ourselves. Right. So That's it. And it's not your job to change anybody, to rescue anybody, to fix anybody. It's just your job to be yourself. And if you're doing that, then what actions would you take? Right. So it'll inform how you schedule your life. It'll inform what you agree to. And also, you know, how you talk to yourself and how you treat others. So thank you so much for coming on,
Thank
Goddess.
you for having me.
And for all of you watching, if you enjoyed this, I hope that you subscribe so you never miss any of the videos that we have here, just designed to empower you to change your life and have healthy, awesome relationships. And if you resonate with anything Nichole said, please share in the comments. We read all of them. And if you have a question or something that you want to go deeper into that was inspired by this video, then share it in the comments as well. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and I will see you soon.